Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of the Civil Canadians. I'm Scotty V. Now what I got for you today is my top 10 movies of 2019. And if you're wondering why King Kansas is not with me, it's because it's Christmas season and the King's got to do his shopping. So he's a little bit busy right now. That's why I'm here today to do my top 10 movies of 2019. And King Kansas will be posting his on Instagram today, whenever he decides to drop it. So his top 5 list or 10 list will be on our Instagram page, so that will be linked down below. Alright, let's start off with my number 10.
Let's kaboom!
My number 10 is Toy Story 4, just because I love Toy Story. I love the first 3 movies and I couldn't wait for number 4. And when I first watched the movie back in June, I wasn't too happy with the ending. I thought it was boring. It was a bit slow. But then when I rewatched it again on 4K, and it was pretty cool. I understood the story more with Woody and Buzz. And Woody has this thing that, hey, toys are meant to be played with and we cannot have our own happiness. And at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, Woody gets his happy ending while the rest of the gang goes with that little girl that Andy gave his toys to back in Toy Story 3. So that's why it wasn't my favorite. It wasn't ranked much more higher like my other films, but it was just because of that. It's the end of an era, and it ended the way it should have ended. All right, let's go to my number 9.
Send in the clowns.
Joker. Back in October, King Kansas and I and J-Ro and a few other friends went to watch the Joker in the movie theater. And let me tell you, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is like next level to Heath Ledger's Joker. Like, I couldn't believe the way Joaquin Phoenix portrayed the iconic character, the Joker, and just his insanity, and because he's not a reliable storyteller, and then just creating chaos in his head, and the twists and turns is crazy. In that final scene when the Joker went on the Murray show, wow, that I think was the best performance I've seen Joaquin Phoenix in any film since Gladiator. Let me tell you, man, and that makeup that Joaquin put on, and his transformation to the Joker was pretty phenomenal. And the way they ended the Joker, they can make a sequel, but I hope they don't, because I think it was a one and done film. I think Joaquin and Todd Phillips originally intended this to be a one and done film, so I hope they stay with that. And that's my number 9 is the Joker. My number 8. It's Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Now, we got a little bit more Godzilla in this movie compared to the first one, but the action was much more better when he was fighting the 3-headed dragon. I keep forgetting, I think King Dakora or something like that. I don't remember his name, but it was a lead up. That film was a lead up to Godzilla versus Kong, which should be coming out in 2020. But the CGI was great. The story did make sense. It wasn't the best Godzilla film, but it's up there. And the human cast, I think, was good. The action was great. Like I said, I'm repeating myself, and just the story made sense. All right, let's go to my number 7.
Did you see that?
Yeah, you electrocuted a bus and almost killed these people.
And then I caught it!
My number 7 is Shazam. I had the privilege to watch this movie 2 weeks early. Let me tell you, Zachary Levi was hilarious. I loved every moment of Zachary Levi as Shazam, Billy Batson, and the movie was filmed here in my hometown, in Toronto. So I saw a couple of streets, and then not just that, is it was DC making a risk, taking a risk, pulling a Marvel type risk with Shazam. Not too many people knew who Shazam was. Zachary Levi brought Shazam to light, and he's great. I see Zachary Levi as Shazam, and Dr. Savannah, I think, was the villain. We got a little bit of his backstory, and it was pretty good. The action was great. The kids were great. Not like the kids in Logan. The kids in Logan were annoying as hell, but the kids in this film and Shazam were pretty awesome. They were all orphans, which was pretty sort of interesting to see that sort of take. I never really read too much of the Shazam story, so I don't know if those were all orphans or in the comics they were. I don't know, but the story worked and everything about this film was great, and I can't wait to see Shazam and Black Adam face each other. And Warner Brothers, we want a Man of Steel too. All right, so let's go to my number 6.
I'm gonna end it.
My number 6 is Captain Marvel. Now, it's not my favorite MCU movie, and it's not the worst MCU movie, so it's kind of in between. This movie did come out in March, so I did see it. Brie Larson's a great Captain Marvel. The action was great. The CGI was amazing for that film. So yeah, in terms of story, it was kind of predictable for Captain Marvel. We kind of expected what was going to happen after we got some reveals. The Skrulls were great. The younger CG Sam Jackson was great. So yeah, I was happy with this movie. And it also led up to one of the biggest movies in history, Avengers Endgame. So now let's go to my number 5.
Don't you dare close your eyes. Hold your breath, it gets better. I'm like a shooting star. I've come so far. Let me share this whole new world with you.
5 is Aladdin. Disney's been making all these classic movies into live action, and this year they've made Aladdin, and Masia Masood, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that name wrong, and Naomi Scott were cast as Jasmine and Aladdin, and they've done well. Will Smith was also cast as a genie, which was a big risk, and it worked out good for them. I know a few people who did not like Will Smith's genie, but I did. And the music was sort of the same, but just updated for 2019, 2020, whatever. And it worked. All my favorite songs were in there. A Friend Like Me, A Whole New World, One Jump. Everything was in it. I really liked it. The scenery, it was beautiful. The CGI, everything was great. The only thing I didn't like was Jafar's, and it still stands. I watched the movie I watched the movie a couple of times already, and I still don't like Jafar, but everything else worked. All right, let's go to my number 4.
You must take your place in the circle of life.
The Lion King. The live-action version of the animated classic was released in July of this year, and I was so happy to see it. The songs are great. The music was, like I said, with Aladdin, it was updated. The CGI was phenomenal. It was great the way they did it. And the casting was great, except for Beyonce. I don't know why she was casted in the movie. She was the only one that didn't work, but that's just my opinion. The songs worked, and just it was a remake basically of The Lion King, which worked. A lot of people were complaining about the lions have no emotion, blah 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 blah. Guys, it's live action. Lions don't show emotion in real life. What do you want? Besides that complaint from everybody else, the movie was fine. I had no complaints about this movie, except for that one casting choice. It was fine. I liked this movie. My top 3. My number 3.
But this only ends one way.
John Wick 3. John Wick 3 was so good. I really liked the first one. I really enjoyed the second one. So the action in this movie was top of the line. John jumping on horses, fighting on horses, motorcycles. Oh, it was crazy. I really liked this movie. and Halle Berry was in it. I haven't seen Halle Berry in the movie in God knows how long. The Keanu Reeves worked. It was a big year, big 2019 for Keanu Reeves, and boy, he must have made a lot of money on that movie and other things he's been doing. So yeah, the action was great. I can't wait for John Wick 4. And it was all because of a puppy. All this was because of a puppy. Not just any puppy, the puppy his wife gave him before they killed him. So yeah, my number 2 is...
Up to do. Are you going to step up or not?
You don't want any part of this.
Spider-Man Far From Home. I absolutely loved Spider-Man Far From Home. Obviously, it takes place after 8 months after Avengers Endgame. Tom Holland was great. Jake Gyllenhaal was a fantastic Mysterio. I couldn't believe it. I always saw him as a Batman, but he came into the MCU as Mysterio. Great Mysterio. Quentin Beck worked for Stark. Stark called his technology barf, and he wanted to go against Stark, so what did he do? He found out that Stark gave Peter Parker the Edith glasses, and he wanted the Edith glasses to create an Avengers level event so he can become the next Avenger, next Iron Man sort of thing. Peter Parker obviously overcame it, and it worked out beautifully. The final battle was in London. First time a final battle was outside of New York and in the daytime, because all the Spider-Man movies, if you think about it, all the final battles were at night, but this final battle was during the day, which is pretty cool on Marvel and Sony for doing that, and it's one of my favorite Spider-Man movies to date. Now, my number 1 movie of 2019 is Avengers Endgame. It was my most anticipated movie of 2019, and it lived up to my expectations. Everything was great from beginning to end. When we picked up the story and they went to go get Thanos to retrieve the stones, and he didn't have it because he destroyed them, and then 5-year gap, and then they all got back together and they went back in time to collect the stones. Or I think was one of my theories, or one of our theories. We had something about going back in time, so we predicted it. Me and King Candace know what we're talking about. So Marvel, hire us, and all you studios that do superhero movies, we got it. We know what we're talking about, and we are passionate fans. So the final battle, when all the Avengers came back and they were charging as a team, an army fighting against Thanos, was crazy. Goosebumps everywhere. Captain America picking up Mjolnir for the first time. It was teased back in Age of Ultron. The CGI, the effects were great. Everything in that movie was great, except for one thing. I'm not going to talk about it, but everything was great. The story was great. The casting was great. The cast worked well together. The CGI worked. I think it worked better, a little bit better in Endgame than it did Infinity War. But both movies were great, and it was the best action movie I think of this year, right? So yeah, if you guys, that's it for my top 10 movies of 2019. I'll read them from 10 to 1. So Toy Story, Joker, Godzilla, Shazam, Captain Marvel, Aladdin, Lion King, John Wick 3, Spider-Man Far From Home, and Avengers Endgame. Alright guys, make sure, like I said before, King Kansas will be posting his top 5 list on Instagram, so make sure you check that out. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell, because I know a lot of you don't have that bell on. That's why you're not watching our videos. If you're wondering what's going on with our channel, it's because you don't have the bell on. Alright guys, see you soon. Be good. See you next week.